Good evening, guy and girl gamers of Rift. This is Kosala, also known as Marventus, bringing you yet more insight into the game world of Rift, and today we're going to be talking about professions, or more specifically, we're going to be talking about gathering professions. We are today on my second toon, Marventus, who is a cleric, whom we see right here. Let's see if I can get to the user interface. There it is. And there he is. He's an angry looking, or rather serious looking, balmy tank slash healery type. So there we have it. Now then, professions. Where are we? Let's find out. I have just now concluded the introductory portion of the game in the character creation, getting to know the initial skills, doing the starter quests, gone through the Ascended quest line and popped out into Freemarch. So that's where we are. We are here in Freemarch in the first proper sort of town village that you encounter, which is Ark of the Ascended. Now here you have access to your first 3 professions, and you even have a quest to investigate them, which is why those 3 characters in front of us over there have got little speech bubbles above their heads. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at these 3 starting professions, and keeping in mind that you can only have a maximum of 3 professions in total, and there's way more than 3 professions to be had. So there are 3 gathering professions, and I think 4 or 5 actual crafting professions. We'll get to those in the next video, but let's go ahead and talk to our forager over here and see what foraging is all about.
For now, you must
Tricks of the trades. Here we are, foraging. We're picking plants and herbs. That's what we want with foraging, picking plants, herbs, and then also wood. This is an exceedingly useful profession to have, and it tells you also in this little introductory bit what it's good for. The plants are used by alchemists, wood is needed by weaponsmiths, so this is actually kind of a useful profession. Now the question is, should you go all out gathering professions and try to make money on the AH? That is to say, the auction house, as you would say in World of Warcraft. Now, in my limited amount of the last 3 weeks of playing and testing the auction house, I would have to say, don't bother, at least on my server. Materials they do sell for quite a bit, but there isn't a massive market for it, so it's not like your stuff is going to get sold often. The reason is there's actually quite a large amount of forageable stuff in the world at large, and you are more or less self-sufficient if you pick the right combination of gathering and crafting professions. So most crafters will actually not be buying stuff on the auction house, they will actually be foraging for their materials. So I actually didn't find... Now if somebody disagrees with this, by all means go ahead and comment below and speak your mind on the subject, because I have tried to do quite a bit of selling on the auction house of my forage materials, and they simply haven't sold at all, and there's just no market for them at all. Now in my particular case, I'm actually going to be a weaponsmith, and therefore, or was I going to be an armorsmith? Let me think about that for a second. Yes, I actually was going to be an armorsmith, I believe. So I'm not necessarily sure that foraging is the right one for me. So I'm gonna go take a look at these other 2 guys and see what they have to offer. Now your remaining 2 gathering professions, they're butchery and they're mining. So let's grab a look at mining first.
knowledge is power.
Now what is mining good for? Once you're done smelting mining, it's ready for someone to forge into weapons or armor, which means that if you are going to be going the path of a weaponsmith or an armorsmith, you absolutely need to grab mining. And since that is certainly the case for me, I'm going to do exactly that, and while I'm speaking to this fellow, I'm going to see if I can actually train myself into becoming a miner, which you do by simply saying, I'd like to train for. And there it is, novice level miner. Voila. It tells you that you can only attain a maximum of 3 skills, and then asks you to proceed, and away you go. So that's my first one learned, and the moment I learn it, I also get an associated quest along with it, which I'll just grab here as it is. Now,
Guard this knowledge.
actually, what on earth was that? Is there ore for the guild? I haven't seen that before. Oh yes, that's right, that's the actual quest. Duh, I just picked up that quest. Silly Marv. Off we go again. Novice Butcher. Let's take a look at what the Butcher has to say. And he says, fur from vicious wolf can be used to make winter hats, or the hides of crocodile can be used to make sturdy boots. So, there we are. Hides, this sounds like once again a thing for the armorsmith. So it looks like in my case I will probably be needing mining and butchery. And I can probably skip on foraging. Now, as it is in your particular cases, it is a good idea to try to figure out what kind of main profession you're going to want to pursue, and then decide what kind of gathering professions you want to grab, which makes this initial location for the somewhat backward. I guess it's somewhat logical that you'd start out by gathering materials first, but at this point in the game you actually have not been introduced to the crafting professions, and it doesn't say enough about it. For example, rune crafting is not introduced here at all, which is another crafting profession. Apothecary, which is your alchemy profession, is just hinted at here. So on Marvina, my main toon, who actually has rune crafting and apothecary as the professions, I actually only picked up foraging, which means that I will from time to time need to buy from the auction house materials such as the kind of stuff that the butchers will normally pick up. This has turned out to be a little bit of a pain for me. So I'm inclined to think that from my experience the best combination is for you to actually have two corresponding gathering professions and limit yourself to just one crafting profession. And I will get in depth to the crafting professions in the next video, but generally from my experience that is the way it has gone. So the three gathering professions, once again, butchery, miner, and also forager. So in general, if you're going to be an alchemist, get foraging, an apothecary, as it is called in Rift, get foraging and get butchery. If you're going to be an armorsmith, get mining and butchery. If you're going to be a weaponsmith, get foraging and mining. If you're going to be a rune crafter, you can pretty much get whatever you want. And in that situation you can just go with any two random gathering professions you like and then specialize in rune crafting. I should give a little bit of warning before I get into that in detail in the next video. Rune crafting is a tough profession to level, so you'll need to be very, very patient with that and be careful about how you go about that particular choice, because if you're going to be the kind of person that gets bored very, very quickly, that's not the profession for you. So there we have it, folks, the gathering professions: butchery, mining and foraging. If anybody has any new insights, input or opinions, feel free to comment and discuss below, and of course like and dislike the videos so I know which kind of stuff you'd like to see. Thank you for watching. Until part 2, which should be along in just the next few days. Bye bye for now.